Rama Rama Popoda. Hope all are in good health, feeling relaxed, having a peaceful life, and happy always. We have to chant the name of God most of the time, as much as we can. Please do chant the name of your loving God, whichever God you like. Okay, now let's go to the next chapter 8, part 2. God is never cruel. Thus, from village to village, he travelled on. Again, the plight of his feet grew worse due to incessant walking. He was now nearing Bijapur. On leaving a village in the afternoon, he took to the road and had covered about 3 miles. It might be past 3 o'clock when he met some men coming from the opposite direction. They stopped him and inquired to know whither he was going. He, of course, told them that he wanted to reach Bijapur. One of them warned him that he would not reach Bijapur before dark, as he had to traverse yet 20 miles and there was not a single village on the way where he could halt. In darkness, he might lose himself and be caught in a jungle. He suggested that Ramdas might start early next morning. Meanwhile, he might give them the pleasure of his company for that night. Ram takes care of his child at every place. He retraced his steps with these kind friends and spent the night in their village. Early next morning, long before dawn, he started again and covered about 10 miles. By forenoon, here he found on his left a big area of cultivated fields. In the middle of the farm was a well from which water was being drawn by picota for irrigating the fields. A farmer and 4 bullocks were at work. He went to the well to quench his thirst. Descending to the well, he slaked his thirst. When he came up, the driver of the bullocks beckoned Ramdas to go to him. He made Ramdas sit beside him in the cool shade of a large tree near the brink of the well. Ramdas smoked a few puffs from his chillum of tobacco. "Now, I have a question to ask of you," he said. "Are you sure, Sadhuji, that there is a God? For my part, I have strong doubts about his existence." Ramdas replied, "God is there for them who have faith, and not for them who have not. Listen then to my tale," he continued. "My occupation, as you see, is agriculture. I have a family consisting of my wife, 3 grown-up daughters, a son and his wife. The green fields around this well are of our cultivation. All the members of the family are toiling in the fields from morning till night. These 4 bullocks also work for long hours for irrigating the fields. We are all actively at our task throughout the year. With all of this, you will be surprised to learn we are not having sufficient to procure bare creature comforts." Pointing to his daughters, who had by now assembled near Ramdas, he added with a bitter tone, "Look, Maharaj, at the clothing of my girls. They are in rags. You say there is God. If there is one, he must be very cruel. If cruel, he is no God." For Ramdas replied, "God is not a mere matter of faith or speculation. He is a certainty. In spite of what you say of your condition, Ramdas can assure you that God is, and He is all kindness and love. We are not to judge His existence by the material comforts we obtain in life or by the absence of such comforts. The trials and sufferings are necessary for our spiritual growth. For the sake of God, princes have renounced kingdoms and have taken to the beggar's bowl and rags. Life is misery for him who knows no contentment, however affluent he may be in possession and wealth. A poor man content in his cottage is far happier than a monarch discontented in his palace. Contentment is a gift of God which we get through faith and submission to Him. God never means us harm. Our want of belief in His benevolence is the source of our misery. You may say yours are hard facts in the sternly face you. They are nothing when you assign them the right value and thus understand the true purpose of life. Verily, God is not for him who frets and grumbles. Brother, do not give way to despair. Submit to his will, and all will be well. He heard Ramdas in silence while his eyes were filled with tears. Ramdas left him and proceeded on his journey. Ramdas' mind set to work. Whence is the misery of the agriculturist? No doubt one suffers from one's own actions or karma. How did karma in this case work through external causes? The middleman and the moneylender were certainly the ostensible causes of the poor man's ruin. The heartless exploitation by the tradesman on one hand and the greediness of the moneylender on the other must have crushed him down. The ceremonies and festivals over which large sums of money are wasted should have driven him into the clutches of the latter. Added to these, there are the caprices of the weather and seasons, and to top it all, heavy taxation. At midday, he arrived at a village where, under a grove of trees, there was a tank in which he had his bath, and then his bhiksha in the neighboring village. Resting for an hour in the cool shade of the grove, he continued his journey. Bijapur now lay only at a distance of 6 miles, which he made by 5 o'clock in the evening. He went to the house of Shankarlaloza, the kind merchant friend whose hospitable roof had sheltered him when he visited Bijapur on the last occasion. At his pressure, Ramdas stayed with him for 2 days. He and his ailing wife proved by their kind attention that they were the very embodiments of love. Shankarlal noticed the condition of Ramdas' feet. They were so much swollen that they appeared as if stricken with elephantiasis. He spoke with great concern about this matter in the presence of his friends who, touched by his reference, raised a contribution for his railway fare to Hubli. Ramdas had told him that he was to go to Hubli. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupoda.